Okay, YouTube subscribers, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to change your CV settings on my Prodigy Advanced with a Tsunami 2 sound card. And so I've got my little GP7 on the test track. I'm going to first demonstrate how to read the current CV settings. So I'm going to turn my switch over here to put it on the program track, because you can only read CV settings from the program track. So I'm going to hit program 3 times until the read comes up. Then I'll hit enter. And then when I hit enter, it'll read this address. You see it flashing read. So it's 702. So to move on, I'm going to hit shift, because I don't want to read the starting voltage and the acceleration, deceleration, top voltage. So this is now we're down to the CV. So if I want to read a CV, I would just put the CV number in. So let's put in 128. Hit enter. That's your master sound control. So right now it's set at 100, but I can't change it right now because I'm in the read mode. So what you do with this is you just go down through the CVs and write down what the codes are. And if you get them screwed up, you can always go back to the CD and reset them to factory standards. I'll talk about that in a minute. So that's how you just read, and when you hit enter, it's now ready. Let's look at 289. I don't know what that is without looking, but we hit read, and it's whatever it is set to 0. So that's how you read the CVs off your locomotive. You just hit enter, and you can keep going like that, or just come back. Now it's out of the read mode. So I want to switch it over to the main road, and let me change that to forward. So I'm going to now illustrate how to set some CVs. So now I'm on the main track. Even though I'm on my test track, it's really the main track the way I've got it wired. So I'm going to hit my program button, and I don't want to be on the program track. I want to be on the main track, and I hit enter here. And then it's going to allow me to change that address code if I wanted to. I don't, so I'm just going to hit enter, not shift. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to get down to where the CVs are, and I'll do 128, which is the sound control. And let's say I want to make it a little louder, and I'll make it 120. And I sent that over to the locomotive, and now I could do another CV if I wanted to. So I could have, and do multiples at a time. When you're done doing that, then you just hit enter, and it comes back to the main control here. So I'm on my main track, on the main track of my test track. So now it's ready to go. So I can give it some power. Now what you notice there, as soon as I gave it power, it started ringing the bell. But the bell only lasted 5 seconds. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's what you can do with the CVs. You can actually tell it to start the bell when the thing starts, and then how long to run the bell. So I've reset all of my function keys, and so I'm going to run through a few of those just to show you what I've done, and then I'm going to show you a spreadsheet later and talk about that a little more. But the 0 is the light. But I've also got another CV set to 0 too. That's why it turned the light on and made that horn sound. So I need to figure out what I've got set to 0 and get it off that function key. So I hit a 1. That's the forward horn. That's a reverse horn. That's your crossing bell, crossing horns. 4 is just your straight bell. So I wanted my horns across the top, and the bell is 4. 5 is shut down. So you hear it shut down, or it'll crank it up. So I'll hit it again. I'll start it. So you hear it coming back on there. And so if I hit 5 again, it'll crank up the RPMs. And 6 will reduce them down, and it'll eventually shut them off. I set 9 to mute, so I can hit 9 and it kills all the sounds. The locomotive still runs, but I've got all the sounds off. So if you watch some of my other videos, you see the locomotives kind of jerk when they accelerate. So that's what I changed the acceleration and deceleration CVs, so they're a little more smooth. They don't jerk when you change the speed control. On this Prodigy, I have to hit the shift to get to the 10 through 20 codes. It only has 20 codes. I can't go up to the 28 and all that. And I got a problem now where I can't actually go past 12 for some reason. I'm not able to get 13 through 20 to work, and I have to follow up with either soundtracks or MRC, figure out why that's the problem. But anyway, I want to show you how to do I figured out how to do the programming, and I'm gonna, after I stop with the video part of this, I'm gonna show you some photographs that I took showing you what I did with the CV settings, and I'm going to try to do a little voiceover, explain the ones that I think are interesting that I changed and started using. So anyway, let's see if we can get to the pictures. This is a second page of a spreadsheet I've created showing the CV codes that I put in, or were the default codes. The 2 columns on the right are for each of my 2 locomotives with a Tsunami 2 sound card in them, and just write down the numbers to keep track of them. You can see I've changed one of them there, but it's a good idea to keep a record of what these things are. These are some interesting CVs I ran across. First one, of course, is just the CV number 1, which you put in your locomotive number, typically the road number. If you've seen some of my videos, you'll see my train is jumped, so I put in a 100 in CV3 and a 50 in CV4 to smooth out the way the power is applied. CV8, you can reset all your CVs putting in an 8 there. CV's 31, 32, you don't change 31, 32, you put a 1 in there, which allows you to get to the CV's 257 and up to do your flexible function codes. CV113 is a timeout, so if your locomotive's sitting there just making noise, it'll stop doing that after 90 seconds. I'm not sure if it's running, it turns the sound off or not. I'll have to experiment with that. 119 is in case you hit a dead spot in your track and it loses power. It'll come back to 100% power setting by setting that to 255. The master volume control is 128. I said mine at 100. 193, 194, and 198 are real interesting because you can turn your bell on automatically at a certain speed level. I talked about that in the video demonstration. And 198 has to be set to 6 for those to work appropriately. This picture shows my function numbers I've set by changing those flexible CDs, or I'm sorry, flexible function codes. And the headlight's still number 1, and the first 3 I changed to have horn sounds. So what you do is you go into CV number 279 and put a 1 in there, and 280 I put a 2 in there, and so on down the line. One thing I did notice is if you have the same function number in multiple CVs, it'll try to do both of them. I think you heard that on my demonstration. But like on, if I put a 4 in another horn CV, then the bell and the horn would both come on.